Aunt Larceny screamed as the handcuff. She thought her $60,000 heist was the perfect crime. But Nana just winked and took a slow sip of her tea. Bro, I swear I'm not making this up. The look on this woman's face as the police dragged her down the driveway was better than any movie ending you've ever seen. You are not going to believe the level of audacity we are dealing with today, because this woman literally tried to strip mine her own mother. We are talking about a systematic, cold-blooded betrayal that is about to meet the most satisfying karma hit. Picture this: blue and red lights flashing against the suburban siding, the neighbors all out on their porches with their jaws on the floor, and the saintly caretaker of the family finally getting exactly what she deserved. This wasn't just a simple theft. It was a multi-month operation involving silver spoons, heirloom jewelry, and a level of greed that would make a cartoon villain blush. Honestly, at this point, any normal person would feel some guilt, but our girl was too busy counting her imaginary millions. But what Aunt Larceny didn't know was that the weak senior she was targeting was actually playing 4D. This is the story of how a massive betrayal turned into a one-way ticket to a jumpsuit that definitely does not match her skin tone. It is the ultimate watch what happens moment, and trust me, the payoff is even sweeter than you think. Get comfortable because this heist-movie-turned-legal fiasco is going to blow your mind and satisfy your soul. So, let's meet the star of our show, the woman I like to call Aunt Larceny. Seriously, this woman has the moral compass of a broken GPS and the audacity of a cat in a fish market. When my grandmother, who was the sweetest, most non-ambulatory soul you've ever met, started needing 24/7 care, the family was in a total tailspin. We're talking about the kind of high-stress, how are we ever going to afford a professional nurse type of panic that leaves everyone exhausted. And right on cue, like a villain appearing in a puff of cheap perfume and fake sincerity, Aunt Larceny swoops in. She started pulling these actual crocodile tears, guys, wailing about how cruel it would be to put Grandma in a care facility. She told the whole family, and I quote, "I will sacrifice my entire life to care for—" Bro, please. She wasn't making a sacrifice. She was stakeouting a gold mine. She moved in with 3 massive suitcases and a smile that definitely didn't reach her eyes. At first, everyone thought she was a literal saint. She was there every morning, making low-sodium oatmeal and acting like the MVP of the entire family tree. But here's the thing about people like Aunt Larceny. They aren't looking for a thank you. They're looking for the combination to the safe. While the rest of the family was busy praising her at Sunday dinner for being such a blessing, she was busy calculating the resale value of Grandma's 1940s heirloom silver set. We are talking about a systematic, cold-blooded heist. This wasn't just a few bucks missing from a dusty purse. This was a professional-level clearing out of a family legacy. She waited until Grandma was asleep or slightly loopy from her meds, and then the caregiver became the taker. She'd be tucking Grandma in with one hand and stuffing vintage jewelry into her pockets with the other. The sheer, unadulterated gall of this woman was off the charts. I'm telling you, she was playing the long game, and we were all just the unsuspecting audience for her Person of the Year performance. She basically treated Grandma's house like a shopping mall where everything was 100% off. But the most shocked, so our hero, let's call him the detective, decides it's time to stop playing defense and start playing for keeps. He goes full-blown CSI Suburbs on this whole situation. Bro, he actually goes out and buys a kit of forensic-grade UV marking ink and a high-powered blacklight. I am not kidding you. He spent an entire night like some kind of basement-dwelling chemist, meticulously marking every single item of value left in that house. We're talking about the underside of the antique silver platters, the tiny clasps of every gold necklace, and even the individual bills in his grandmother's emergency cash drawer. You couldn't see a single thing with the name. Everything he touched would glow like a neon sign in a Vegas window. He even marked the good jewelry that Aunt Larceny hadn't managed to swipe yet, essentially turning the house into a giant, invisible trap. But he didn't stop there because he knew he needed visual proof that would actually hold up in court. See, people like Aunt Larceny, our resident Captain Entitlement, are absolute. They'll look you in the eye and tell you the sky is green if it saves their skin. So, the detective goes on a serious tech shopping spree. He gets those high-tech stealth cameras that are disguised as ordinary USB wall chargers and digital alarm clocks. He scattered them all over the main living areas and, most importantly, tucked one right into his grandmother's bedroom. Total overkill? Maybe? Perfectly necessary? Bro, absolutely. He was basically running a professional-grade. He's sitting there, heart pounding, watching the live feeds and just waiting for the saintly caretaker to show her true colors. And the audacity? It was off the charts. Within only 48 hours, he catches her. He's staring at his screen, jaw hitting the floor, as Aunt Larceny walks into the room, while his grandmother is literally napping right there in her chair. This woman starts pocketing heirloom jewelry like she's on a 3-minute shopping spree at a discount store. She didn't even look nervous. She looked like she was just doing her Saturday chores. The detective is shaking he's got the 4K footage, he's got the marked goods, and he knows exactly where her greedy little heart is going to lead her next. This wasn't just a family hunch anymore. It was a documented criminal record in the making, and he was just getting started. He was ready to drop the legal hammer, but he needed to see just how deep this betrayal really went. Now, if you thought the hidden cameras were the final nail in the coffin, you clearly haven't met a professional. My friend, the absolute legend behind this operation, oh no, any normal person would. He went full forensic files mode. He started hitting up every single pawn shop within a 20-mile radius of the house, and let me tell you, what he found wasn't just a betrayal. It was a god-tier heist. We are talking about a paper trail that was basically a roadmap to Aunt Larceny's inevitable downfall. Bro, I am not even kidding. She left a trail wider than a highway. By the third shop, he finds it. A heavy silver tea set that's been in the family since basically the Victorian era. And when he asked, boom, a photocopy of Aunt Larceny's actual driver's license. Bro! She's out here leaving a physical footprint flatter than a pancake because she thought she was untouchable. But as he kept digging, the numbers started climbing into holy cow territory. This wasn't just a few rogue silver spoons for gas money. This was a systematic, cold-blooded liquidation of a non-ambulatory. We are talking jewelry, heirloom watches, and even rare coins that had been hidden away for decades. As he's standing there tallying up the receipts, the total value of what she'd offloaded was hitting nearly $60,000. $60,000. That's more than the average individual loss for most investment fraud cases reported to the FBI in 2024. Aunt Larceny wasn't just a bad aunt. She was a walking, talking statistic for the DOJ's 2025 annual report. It turns out that while the median loss for victims over 80 is usually around $1,600, she was treating her own mother's house like a personal ATM. The sheer audacity of her doing this while pretending to be the selfless. Our hero was standing in the middle of a dusty shop, holding a receipt for a necklace that was supposed to be his sister's inheritance, and you could practically see the revenge meter hitting radioactive levels. Everything they believed up to this point was wrong. He wasn't just dealing with a petty thief. He was dealing with a predator who had planned this for months. But little did she know, while she was busy cashing in those stolen heirlooms, the legal hammer was already being polished and prepped for its grand debut. He had the names, the dates, the signatures, and the exact dollar amounts. The trap wasn't just set, it was bolted to the floor. Now here's where it gets good. Because Aunt Larceny was about to find out that the paper trail she left wasn't just evidence. It was her one-way ticket to a concrete room. Aunt Larceny struts into the living room for what she thinks is the big final distribution of the estate, like she is about to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award for Best Caretaker. Seriously, the sheer audacity of this woman was infinite. She actually had the nerve to show up wearing a black designer scarf and a matching veil that I am 99% sure she bought with the cash she got from hawking Grandma's collection of heirloom silver spoons. She is sitting there in the armchair, looking all somber and grieved while trying to force out a few crocodile tears for the benefit of the family, while the rest of us are just vibrating with the energy of 1,000 suns because we know exactly what is about to go down. I look at her and say, "Bro, I think we need to review some really interesting footage I found on the new security system we installed last month." You should have seen her face in that moment. She went from smug saint to the ghost of Christmas past in about 3 seconds flat. She starts doing that annoying, high-pitched stammering thing, claiming that her privacy is a sacred family value, and that she was only relocating the valuables to protect them from potential burglars. That is when the front door opens and 2 officers walk in carrying a file thick enough to be a George R.R. Martin novel. They start listing off the specific dates, times, and locations of every single pawn shop she visited across the city. And Aunt Larceny starts panicking, screaming that she only sold those old dusty things to pay. It was a total lie, of course. Our investigation showed she had not spent a single dime of that money on anyone but herself. She is literally crying about how those heirlooms were worth $60,000 and how we are destroying her life over some family medal. And that is when Grandma, the woman she thought was just a weak senior who did not know what day it was, gives her the cold, dead-eyed stare that she usually... Grandma leans forward and says, "Honey, I have known you were a vulture since the day you were born." I swapped those real diamonds and the silver sets for high-quality cubic zirconia and $20 thrift store replicas 3 months before you even moved in. The real items have been sitting in a private bank vault under my grandson's name since April. The silent Aunt Larceny had just admitted on a police body cam to stealing what she believed was $60,000 in assets, essentially confessing to a massive felony heist, only to find out she was going to jail for hawking a bunch of shiny glass and silver-plated copper. Under the new 2025 enforcement surges, the Department of Justice has been running to combat elder fraud. They are not playing games with these cases anymore. She was facing multiple counts of grand larceny and elder financial abuse, and because our state recently expanded the statute of limitations for these crimes to 7 years, all her past little disappearing acts with family property were suddenly... Watching her get hauled out of Grandma's house in handcuffs while she screamed that we tricked her into being a criminal was honestly the most beautiful... She thought she found an easy target in her own family, but she walked right into a masterclass in karma. Grandma is not just a senior, she is a grandmaster of the long game who knows how to take out the trash. So what do you think? Did they go too far with the fake jewelry trap? Drop your verdict in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, smash that